Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today, dear brothers and sisters, we will delve into the topic of Judaism and Zionism in Islam. We will examine the historical journey of the Jews, the Islamic perspective towards them, as well as the contemporary issue of Zionism in the light of the Qur'an and Hadiths, inshallah. The Jews are a people frequently mentioned in the Qur'an. During the time of Musa, alayhi salam, they were a group that believed in the oneness of Allah and followed the law revealed to this prophet. However, these believers represented only a small minority within the Jewish community. The majority of the Jewish people betrayed Musa, alayhi salam, rejected his call, and strayed from the righteous path. In the Qur'an, there are numerous references to how the Jews transgressed divine commandments and rejected the prophets. Surahs such as Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, Al-Ma'idah, and An-Nisa detail the betrayals, excesses, and rejections of the prophets by the Jews throughout history. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 61, this situation is described as follows: They were covered with humiliation and poverty, and they drew on themselves the wrath of Allah. This was because they went on rejecting the signs of Allah and killing His messengers unjustly. This verse highlights that the Jews incurred Allah's wrath for having rejected the divine commandments and for attempting to kill the prophets. They opposed not only Musa, alayhi salam, but also Dawood, alayhi salam, and Isa, alayhi salam, betraying and rejecting them as well. The difference between religion and Sharia. According to Islam, there is no distinct religion called Judaism or Christianity. Since the time of Adam, alayhi salam, all divine laws revealed by Allah are part of the one and true religion, which is Islam. In the eyes of Allah, the only true religion is Islam. However, this single religion has manifested through different laws, sharias, depending on the eras and prophets. Sharia represents the set of rules established by each prophet for his people, serving as a divine guide for each period. During the time of Adam, alayhi salam, Islam was already the true religion, and the Sharia, in effect, corresponded to the version of Islam adapted to that era. Similarly, during the time of Musa, alayhi salam, Islam was still the true religion, and the laws he brought constituted the Sharia that guided the Jews of his time. However, Sharias evolved over time, and each Sharia established by a prophet was specific to its period. The Sharia of our Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, is the final one and applies universally until the Day of Judgment. After the death of Musa, alayhi salam, the Jews began to disobey divine commandments and reject the new prophets sent by Allah. When Isa, alayhi salam, was sent as a prophet, they also opposed him, further deviating from the righteous path. The Jews did not merely betray the prophets, they also altered the book revealed by Allah. They changed the Torah according to their own desires, modifying the commandments to suit their own interests. The Qur'an describes this alteration as follows: They distort words of the book by taking them out of context. An-Nisa 4:46. After these falsifications, the Jews declared themselves to be a superior race, identifying themselves as Allah's chosen people. According to them, all other humans were created only to serve them. This deviant ideology led them to commit murders, oppress the innocent, and spread corruption on earth. The Jewish conviction of being a superior race and their tendency towards oppression. One of the deviant beliefs held by the Jews is their conviction of being a superior race. According to them, all those who are not Jewish, referred to as goyim, are created solely to serve them. As a result, they believe it is legitimate to infringe upon the rights of non-Jews, enslave them, or even kill innocents. These deviant beliefs and ideologies have led the Jews to commit numerous acts of oppression throughout history. In Islam, such a concept of superiority does not exist. Allah created every human being equally, and commanded that all live in accordance with His commandments. In the eyes of Allah, the only criterion for superiority is piety, taqwa. The Qur'an expresses this notion of equality and justice as follows: O mankind, we have created you from a male and a female, and made you peoples and tribes, so that you may know one another. Verily, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous. Al-Hujurat 49/13. This verse highlights the concept of equality and justice in Islam, completely rejecting the Jews' claim to superiority. In the eyes of Allah, superiority is not measured by race or ethnicity, but solely by adherence to divine commandments and reverential fear, taqwa. The place of Zionism in Islam. Zionism is a movement founded in the late 19th century by Theodor Herzl, with the aim of establishing an independent Jewish state in Palestine. However, far from being a mere religious movement, Zionism is primarily a political ideology that upholds the Jews' claim to being a superior race. Zionists have usurped Palestinian lands and oppressed Muslims, as well as other populations living there. The Qur'an mentions the Jews' tendency to spread corruption and commit injustices as follows: They strive throughout the land, causing corruption, and Allah does not like corruptors. Al-Ma'idah 5:64. This verse highlights that the Jews throughout history have caused disorder on earth, and Allah does not approve of such actions. From a Muslim perspective, Zionism is seen as a modern manifestation of this corruption. A Jew who truly adheres to his religion should in no way support such oppressions, as these actions go against the commandments of Allah. Islam's view on Jews and Zionism. In summary, dear friends, the Qur'an condemns the Jews as a community that has disobeyed Allah and committed injustices. However, Zionism, according to Islam, is a movement based on oppression and corruption. In the face of Zionism, it is crucial for Muslims to uphold truth and justice and to stand with the oppressed. The ideology of the chosen people and the concept of enslaving others go completely against the principles of fairness and justice advocated by Islam. This brings us to the end of our video. We have tried to present the issue of Jews and Zionism in light of Islamic sources. Until the next video, may you remain under the protection of Allah.